Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program and in studio. I want to welcome Burt Davis and Barney Sheridan.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, okay. I was gonna tell you to talk close to the mic, but you knew exactly what to do. You've done this before, haven't you?
A couple times.
Okay, and let's see. Oh, I have the wrong one.
There we go. Hey, that sounds like me.
Okay. You were sitting in that seat, but using that microphone. So there we go. We got things. It's a weird Thursday. Trust me.
It's all right. It's a Monday like Thursday. Isn't it?
Yeah, well, it must be because earlier there was a giant spider dropped out on my keyboard, and I was looking for it, and it's just it's a weird day. But I want to welcome you guys to Gillette.
Thank you. Very glad to be here.
So tell us. I mean, as I was saying during the break, I don't know a lot about rodeo. Mm-hmm. So why don't you give us a little bit of idea of what you guys do?
Well, we travel the country, and Burt is one of our industry's premier specialty acts, which means that Burt comes in and provides a lot of the entertainment. In fact, if you come Friday or Saturday night to the Energy Town Pro Rodeo here at the Camplex, Burt will be performing a few different acts, but one of the ones you'll see, I like to brag on him, is the act they call the Muttley Crew, and Burt is one of the world's greatest dog trainers. And you see, we brought you a picture. Burt was a couple seasons ago on America's Got Talent and went very far in America's Got Talent. And in fact, I don't believe, Burt, tell me this, you weren't actually voted off. You just had somewhere else you had to be.
Well, yeah, they made it look like we was voted off, but due to contract obligations during the summer, we couldn't work with their schedule and they couldn't work with ours, so we walked off the show. It was an exciting experience, but we know now that our dogs can perform anywhere besides the rodeo arena, but we're excited to be here in Gillette, and we're ready to entertain the folks. It's the first time I've been to Gillette in many years. This crew's never been here, and if you all love dogs, you're going to love our show. Well,
and I will say the dog acts are really popular. I mean, didn't a dog act win America's Got Talent last year?
Yes, sir. A dog act, the Oathie Dogs won it last year. They're a circus act out of New York. Well, they're originally from down in South America, but they work for the Big Apple Circus Company. Anyway, they have in the past, and awesome job they did last year. Before that, when we was on the show, they didn't have that kind of acts. They had a frisbee dog or a few little acts like that. The only other big animal dog act person that was there was Gregory Popovich, and that was on season 2, I believe. And Gregory Popovich is a 4 or 5 generation circus performer that has his own show in Las Vegas now. Actually, we got to see it a couple years ago, and it's pretty awesome.
So tell us a little bit about what your dogs do.
Oh, well, I'll probably do 3 acts here. One is the Muttley Crew that Barney talked about. It's 9 dogs. There are 7 dogs that do everything right, and there's 2 dogs that'll mess everything up in the act. It's very cute. Our act is that you've owned a dog like one of ours, a family member has a dog like one of ours, or there's somebody up the street. We was just last weekend, we was in Casadale, Utah, and the folks were amazed that I could put all these different breeds of dogs together and make them work so well. My second act that I'll do here is the act that made me famous with a dog that we lost in 2007, a dog named Kelsey. She was nominated for PRCA Act of the Year in 2003 and 2004, and the only comedy dog act that ever has performed at the Wrangler National Finals. You know, when kids grow up, they want to be in the Super Bowl or they want to be in the World Series. Well, the NFR in Las Vegas is our Super Bowl, and we got to perform there in 2000, 2003, and 2006. In 2000, we was the opening, and then the general manager of Las Vegas, Sean Davis, wanted to do things during live TV, and we was the first comedy act to perform during live TV, and to be on time, on spot for a minute and a half was, pretty pretty scary, and they always say there's a tunnel there that they call when you walk down the hallway there in Thomas and Mack, and they go, when you walk down that tunnel, you'll get the hair will stand up on the back of your hair. And I was calm during rehearsal, and when I walked down the hall, down the tunnel the night we performed, it was pretty scary. And then in 2006, there was a little sweetheart girl, 17 years old, sang the national anthem, and she was living on Kelsey, and she's become quite a star, and her name is Taylor Swift. So it was pretty awesome, and then come to find out, a boy that I went to school with her personal pilot there for a couple years, but he didn't like Henderson, Tennessee, so he moved back to California.
Oh wow! So, wow, that's a pretty good story. And I just kind of want to go back to something you mentioned, that you mentioned all the different breeds of dogs. I'm looking at the picture that you showed me from your America's Got Talent run. I mean, you have like a Chow, and you have looks like you have a Golden Retriever. I mean, you have a bunch of different kinds of dogs. And usually when you see these acts, it's usually Australian Shepherds or Blue Heelers or something like that.
Or the circus acts where you see, 7 or 8 poodles.
Oh, poodles, yeah.
There's a standard poodle. There's a pit bull cross. The Chow that you talked about, we lost her last year at the age of 20. That picture that you see there, when she was on the show, who was Sharon Osbourne's favorite dog, Angela, I started with 3 dogs in 1995, and she was one of the 3 original dogs that we started with, and we lost her last year. She had a stroke at the age of 20, and she passed away. But she was a great dog. But when you put all these different breeds, there's 2 Australian Shepherd crosses in there. There's a Collie, the Pit Bull cross, a couple Terriers. They are a motley crew, and at Castledale, Utah last weekend, we was the hit of the rodeo and the hit of the town, and hopefully we'll be the hit of the town here in Gillette, Wyoming. We're very excited to be here.
Burt won't say this part, but I'll brag on it a little bit. Now, see, the reason, and you see all these dogs like this, is because all of these dogs are either rescue or shelter dogs.
Oh, wow.
They're all rescue or shelter dogs. And so it's not like he goes out and he finds a breeder and he does all that. Literally, he's got shelters all over the country that'll call him and they'll say, hey, we've got a dog and I think it'll fit what you do really well. And so they'll hold it until they manage to get through there. And so that's where all these dogs have come from shelters or rescues.
I think that's pretty cool because it also gets the word out for the shelters, and
Yes, sir. There's a lot of dogs out there in shelters, and see when I pick a dog out of the shelter, I'll walk up and down the kennels and I'll look for disposition, color, age, and everything. And my wife won't go with me because they'd
have them all.
We have them all. And what's sad in the shelter that I'll see a dog that's 6 or 7 years old or older in age, and it takes anywhere from 6 to 8 months to train a dog to get them to do what we do. And I look at them dogs, and it tears you up when you go in there and see all these dogs, and then you see some of the dogs that what I hate when I hear on the radio or on TV, a dog incident here or there, like the pit bulls. We have a pit bull that yesterday was my birthday, and we was over at Barney's trailer and had a good time there, and climbed into bed, and this pit bull cross was laying on me, and Franny tried to get in bed, and he wouldn't let her, because he was all cuddled up with me. And I've always said about a pit bull, it's not the breed, it's the environment.
Oh yeah, well, and this is actually something I learned a few years ago. I in my old station, my old show, I did a segment on this. The pit bull actually used to be known as the nanny dog, and they were used to watch children. So I mean, it's an unfortunate thing that the breed's kind of been maligned, and a lot of people training them to do things that they shouldn't be doing. So it's good to it's good publicity. It's good publicity for the breed, and it's also it's good publicity for all dogs, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's really cool that you're able to do this with all these different kinds of dogs.
Well, my wife and I, we've been very blessed and very fortunate and very successful in what we do. Sometimes we do get a call every now and then, but, I'm very selective on who I pick out and the age and the breed and everything else. And we've done pretty good with them. And, they're our kids. We travel with 13 dogs. And people go, how do you do it? Well, when I started rodeo in 1974, to stay in this industry that we call rodeo, you had to have major stuff like this. And I'm one of the few that are left that will go to the effort and have this much. And, there's trick riders, there's Roman riders, people with horse acts, they travel 700 miles to get to the rodeo. They unload their horses in a pen, throw a hay, give them a couple buckets of water, and then they can go up to their motel room and check on them the next day. Where we travel, we came out of Casadel, Utah. The first thing once we parked was get all the animals out, let them do their chores and take care of them, feed them, and we're with them 24/7, 365 days out of the year. And I did a show a couple weeks ago. I flew from New York to Belfast, South Dakota, and got to stay in a motel room. And I woke up the first morning, and it was weird not having the wife and 3 or 4 dogs in bed with me. I did not know what to do. It was the weirdest thing I've done in years.
It's the life of a traveling dog act, right?
Exactly. And you go all around. Like this year, I've been coast to coast and border to border already. And miles we put on, and these dogs, they just seem to go. We did a show in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Showtime. It was 113 degrees heat index with no air. Excuse me. And the dogs went out and stuck it. 2 weeks ago, we was a pre-show in Bonneville, Alberta, which is about 3.5 hours northeast of Edmonton, Alberta. And in the rain and the hail, and they went out and performed. These guys are pretty solid, and like I said, they're family.
Yeah, they just love life. You can watch these dogs, and you can tell they just love life. They love what they do.
Yeah. I think that's a fun thing to do. We're actually up against a break. We'll take a short break, and we'll come back and maybe talk about some of the other stuff going on at the rodeo. So stay tuned. News Talk 1270, KIML, Don Carpenter Show.
He likes turtles too. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270, KIML. Call Don right now, 682-1270. News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. And if you're just joining us, we're talking with Burt Davis and Barney Sheridan. They're in town for the Energy Town Pro Rodeo, and we talked to Burt about the Motley Crew Act and some of the things you're going to be doing. Barney, I wanted to talk to you a little bit maybe about some of the other things that are going on with the rodeo then.
Well, first, I'm not crazy about because when you're in Wyoming and they say some storms could be severe, that's really severe. Yeah, that's not like anywhere else in the world where they say severe storms and it rains a little bit. But we're here, and it all starts today. If you're a fan of steer roping, then that happens today starting at noon over at the at Morningside Park at the Camplex. And some of literally, we were talking on the way over here, I believe of the top 25, 30 steer ropers in the world, I think all but 2 or 3 of them are here.
Oh, wow.
And so if you want to see some world-class steer roping, then that's happening today at noon. And come and join us for that. Then, of course, the rodeo itself starts tomorrow night. And now you're going to want to get there. It starts at 7, but you want to get there early because they've added things. That's one thing that the Camplex and the committee for this rodeo, they always add things. They bring in guys like Burt. They add really neat things. They, of course, they have mutton busting, which is sheep riding. Sheep riding. You've got the Burt's Rodeo Company, Chad and Matt Birch, who live right down the road. And so when it comes to this rodeo, they like to show off a little bit. And so they bring just some of the nastiest horses and bulls in the world of pro rodeo are here. Great cowboys, of course. Bobby Welch is here. A lot of people from Gillette know Bobby. You've got, just some outstanding cowboys and cowgirls here. But this whole thing starts out at 6:30 with jousting.
Yeah, I've actually heard about this, that you're actually going to have real old school armor.
I'm talking guys in armor, horses going at each other with the big, whatever you call that. What do you call that thing? The big
lance.
The lance thing. Yeah. A big stick. Big stick. And that starts at 6:30.
So, and I knew they were going to do the jousting. I didn't know it was part of the rodeo. I mean, is that something that a lot of rodeos do, or is that kind of unique?
Rodeo has evolved, and if you go to specifically the world of pro rodeo, has evolved to where, we we observe the tradition and we respect the tradition, which is what our sport is all about, is the tradition of the West. But at the same time, you incorporate some entertainment things into it with you'll go to rodeos and you'll see stunt motorcycle riders, and you'll see all kinds of different things in a rodeo arena. You'll see acts like Burt's with trained dogs, and you'll see all sorts of different things go. The jousting, I've never worked with them myself, so I'm excited to watch it. But it's one of those things, like say, you'll see all sorts of different things. But we talk about rodeo being in the tradition of the West. This is the tradition of
The East.
The East.
I guess if you keep going west far enough, you'll be back
there.
over there. Yeah,
right. You'll get there. You'll get there.
And that's actually a big thing now. I mean, there are even TV shows with jousting.
Exactly.
So,
TV shows are you can go to dinner clubs that have jousting and things if you're in Las Vegas, and I think these guys and they're very good at it. But yeah, they've got. They'll come out there, knighted up with the armor and everything else, and they go. So it's going to be fun to watch. That's at 6:30 Friday and Saturday night.
And wow, we're almost out of time. So let's just kind of go quickly over some of the rest of the events going on with the rodeo.
There will be everybody always a fan of bull riding. Of course, we got bull riding and saddle bronc bareback riding. There are steer wrestlers and high down ropers and team ropers, and some of the outstanding barrel racers are here. And so there's just anything. If you're a fan of rodeo, and bring the kids, because with a great rodeo like this, with Burt being here, with jousters, and our clown is J.W. Winklepleck, and he's a lot of fun. And so with all of these things going on, it is just great family entertainment. And so if you've never been, come out, because you're going to be hooked. And if you've been to it, then it's always a great show. And we just look forward to seeing everybody there.
Yeah. I'm going to check this out. I mean, like I was telling you before we went on the air, I mean, I think I've seen them when I was a kid, but I haven't been to a rodeo at least in 30 years.
Well, Don, you come join us, and we'll put you in the dirt.
Well,
we'll get you as close as you want to be.
Well, I don't know about. We'll see about that.
Maybe we should have somebody call and see if they want to see. Shame them into it.
As long as it's safe. But I want to thank you, Burt Davis and Barney Sheridan. Energy Town Pro Rodeo. It's this weekend at Camplex. Make sure you go out and check it out.
Don, thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for coming in, and we'll see you soon.
Great, thank you.
News Talk 1270 KIML.
If it's happening in Wyoming, he's talking about it. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.